Welcome to a class on how to mobilize the rib cage in order to breathe better. Certain areas throughout the body, such as the rib cage, the thoracic spine, if they are not mobile, they can prevent us from inhaling and exhaling and overall breathing correctly. So this class is really going to help us open those areas up, allow us to take full inhalations and really capture our lung capacity. So let's start by starting in a seated position. We can either be cross-legged or you can be seated on a chair if that's more comfortable. And let's start by learning how to internally and externally rotate the rib cage. So we place our hands on the lower part of the ribs. I want the index finger around the front and the thumbs around the back. Now I need to take a forceful exhale as if I'm trying to tell someone to shush, and I want to feel the ribs come together when I do so. So I take an exhale, and I want to feel my hands come closer together. And then I take an inhale, and I should feel my hands come out. I take an exhale, hands come together. I take an inhale, my hands come out. Let's go again. Exhale, hands come together. Inhale, then my hand should come out. What often happens here is people generally breathe up into the shoulders and the neck. We call that cranial breath. So therefore, we often aren't going to feel like there's much outwards direction of our breath. It's mostly up. So let's make sure we avoid that as we breathe in. You want to feel like we're breathing 360 degrees out, not up. So once again, exhale, ribs come together. Inhale, ribs come out. Exhale, ribs come together. Inhale. I feel that 360 degree expansion out. Okay, let's move on from there. Now we're going to really try get that breath up into the posterior rib cage. We call this the posterior mediastinum. So essentially just a cavity that sits in between your spine and the lungs in the posterior capsule there. So the goal is to try to take that breath into that space to continue to mobilize into that area. So how we do that is implementing some of the technique we just learned. So now we exhale and the ribs come together. Then as you inhale, we're not allowed to let the hands come out. We got to try get that breath into the back. So you follow along with me. I exhale. Ribs come together. As I inhale, your hand shouldn't move. Try to take that breath into the back. I exhale. Ribs come together. Take an inhale. Try find that breath into the back. One more. Exhale. Don't let those hands drift out as you inhale. Take that breath into the back. Avoid the breath coming up into the shoulders. We can practice this in a supine position as well. So I place my hands in the exact same position. I throw that exhale. The ribs come together. As I inhale, I want to breathe and take that breath into the floor. Avoid the hands coming out. All right, you come along with me. Exhale. Good. And then we take that inhale. Find that breath into the back. You guys keep going ahead. I'm going to keep cueing you in. We're going to go for about another minute here now. So every time, making sure the ribs come together. We shouldn't feel the belly or the chest rise as you inhale. Then once I get that exhale down, I can then really focus that inhale into the back and into the floor. So you should feel some pressure into the back and into the floor from your breath. Okay, we shouldn't feel like that breath is spilling out into the stomach or the chest. You guys keep going ahead. We'll go for another 20 seconds. Once again, that nice strong shush. We need to feel those ribs come together. Make sure I don't feel the shoulders on the inhale. We get right into the back. Another exhale. Good. Keep coming. We got 5 seconds. Take your time in between inhales and exhales as well. There's no rush. And rest. All right. Next position here. To really try to open that rib cage up. We're now going to come in this kneeling position, grab a yoga block, you can grab a pillow, and then we're going to fold exactly here. In this rounded position, this naturally opens up that part of the rib cage, the posterior mediastinum, and that's really going to help us bring that breath into that space. So while I'm there, I take that exhale. Now I shouldn't feel any pressure into that block, and I inhale And I take that breath into the back. Another exhale. The ribs come together. Take that inhale. Find that breath into the back. Big exhale. Another inhale. Find that breath into the back. And again, I exhale. Ribs come together. Big inhale. Good. Now keep going ahead, guys. You're going to be here for another 30 seconds. Take your time. Now imagine your hands are at the ribs again, so your ribs are coming in. There's no breath into the stomach, into the chest, and that breath is just going out into the back. Shoulders are nice and relaxed. I'm not breathing up into the heads. Good. Take your time between inhales, exhales, another 15 seconds, and then just keep slowly breathing into the back for another 10. Taking your time, long drawn out exhales. We got another 2. 1, and rest. Often when we first start utilizing this technique, you're not going to feel like there's much of an inhale because the rib cage is stuck. The rib cage is not mobile enough in order to allow the lungs to expand. But that's the purpose here, is that over time that inhalation should start to grow and grow, but you also need that breath to really push into the rib cage to help things start to open up again. So keep at it. You know, you might feel that inhalation was very short, you hit that wall, but over time that inhalation is going to build and build. Back to a seated position, either on a chair or seated cross-legged at home like this. Now we're going to do some maximal expansive breathing. So now we're going to take the breath and try breathe into every area of the lungs as much as we can. So the first area we breathe into is the lower part of the lungs. In order to do that, we're going to maximize that belly out when we inhale. So take a big breath in. And try push the belly out as much as you can. And then take an exhale. Belly button draws to the spine. Another inhale. Feel into the hand as much as you can. Exhale. Belly button draws to the spine. Shoulders relax. As I inhale, I'm not coming up into the neck or the chest. I exhale. Belly button to spine. As I inhale. Big breath in through the stomach. We can breathe through the mouth for this one to help get more volume of air in. Then the second level, that's level 1. Level 2 now, we're back here. So I exhale first. Go to level 1, which is the stomach. Then we come up into the ribs. So feel that outward expansion. I exhale. Belly button draws the spine. Then I inhale. So we're going level 1, level 2. Reset. Level 1, level 2. We go again. Exhale. Belly button draws the spine. Inhale. Belly. Lower ribs. And rest. All right, the last level, the last section of that breath is right up into the top pockets of the lungs, which is coming up into the chest. All right, so we go. Level 1. Belly button draws the spine. Inhale into belly. Into lower ribs. Up into the chest. And exhale. Breathe all that air out. We go again. Inhale, stomach. Lower ribs. Right up into the chest. Big long exhale. Empty everything out. All right, let's add some movement here. Exact same thing. Let's get each breath as much as we can into each of those 3 levels. Exhale, belly button to spine. Inhale, fill into the stomach. Lower ribs, chest, and rotate to one side. Hold that breath. We exhale. And we reset, come back. Go again. Exhale. Inhale into stomach. Lower ribs. Chest. Rotate the other way. Exhale. Back to center. We go to side crunch now. Exhale. Inhale. Lower ribs. Chest. One hand down. Reach across. Hold. Exhale. Back to center, reset, level 1. Inhale into stomach, into lower ribs, into chest, hand down, we reach over, hold, exhale, and rest. All right, just like that first drill we started, it may be hard to find each of those sections or breathe deeply into each of those areas of the lungs. But once again, over time, that will start to build as that lung capacity grows, as the rib cage becomes more mobile, which is the sole purpose of this class. Great work. See you guys next time.